Alright, so we're back for the finals, and I've won my third die roll of this 8-man, which is pretty good. This hand is also pretty good, but I'm not sure what I want to do with it. I kind of want to Thoughtseize on turn 1, but I don't really want to fetch a basic swamp to do it with this hand, just because I already have the Snapcaster and like 2 blue cards that I might want to hold up simultaneously. And I also don't want to just Lava Axe myself to Thoughtseize. I think what I'm going to do... I have no plans on playing this Young Pyromancer on turn 2. I think you almost always want to wait till you have a spell before you play it, which is why I only have 2 of them in my deck. It's a 2-drop, but like I think in Modern, because there's so many bolts, it's basically like a 3, 4, or 5-drop. And so because that's my plan, and because Spell Snare is my only form of interaction, which I only want on turn 2 anyway, I think my plan right now is to play Polluted Delta, fetch for a Watery Grave, and then Thoughtseize him on turn 2 with the Watery Grave and hold up Spell Snare. And then I'll be able to, after that I'll have more information on whether I can afford to fetch or not. Whether I can afford to fetch for a Shockland or not. And in any case, if I need to, I can... If I need to fetch it for a blue source, then I'm going to fetch for a Shockland. So... I guess I shouldn't have actually played Polluted Delta, so I had the option of fetching for an island. Hollowed Fountain untapped? Okay. Is he sort of Geist deck? I can't think of any deck in Modern that does this, but... or any normal deck at least. So, top, bottom... So this is like a part of why Thoughtseize is really powerful. It's like, not only do I get information about his hand, it almost certainly gives me information about what's on top of his library too. But that's not really a thing. Drawing Mana Leak is not great, just because I'm not going to leave it up this turn when I have Spell Snare. But it could come back to punish me. Okay, so yeah, so he's just a blue-white control deck. Against this hand, I want to take Spell Snare. I think I'm actually going to take Vendilion Click. Is that true? The fact that I don't actually have an answer to Vendilion Click is really annoying. I don't want to Mana Leak, have to hold up Mana Leak on my next turn to play around it. Restoration Angel is more manageable just because I have more time to figure out something to do about it, even if it's slightly less vulnerable. I mean, the fact that if I draw a Bolt I have an answer to Vendilion Click is kind of awkward. And Spell Snare is really good. I think I'm supposed to just take Spell Snare. And then next turn if I draw lands, I can Snapcaster, Thoughtseize. Yeah, so I don't care that my life total is relevant in this matchup, but not as much as my ability to cast spells. I am probably gonna start this game at something like 12 or like even 10 life, which is awkward. So Tassiger is not my favorite. I'm just gonna play Young Pyromancer here. The worst thing you can do is play Vendilion Click, which is not horrible, but which is not great for me, but it's also not horrible. If he passes this, that's great. If he doesn't pass this, this is actually quite a powerful threat against his deck. All right, so this is obviously very fine for me. I'm just gonna get basic island here because my hand is so dense on blue spells it needs to cast. And so now I assume he's going to click me main phase, but I don't know, I guess. Yeah, he's going to click me main phase. It's kind of interesting what he takes, if he takes anything at all. I assume he's going to take Tasker just because it's great, and he probably doesn't have an answer for it anymore. But I couldn't say for sure. So yeah, so hopefully between this draw step, maybe the Thought Scour, I'm going to get an answer. I'll find an answer to the click. Unfortunately, it did not. I think I'm just going to fetch for... I think I'm going to fetch for a mountain. Yeah, I think I'm going to fetch for a mountain and Snapcaster Thoughtseize him. This could backfire really badly if he has a second Restoration Angel. But I think I think it's too... I think if I just leave him with the Restoration Angel in hand and I give him options about regarding playing around my mana leak, that's just too awkward for me. That was... Well, I would have been in bad shape no matter what what basic I got, because he would have been able to tech edge the other one. And I'd rather have basic. I'd rather end up with red mana than black mana. I have very few black spells in my deck anymore now that I've cast Thoughtseize and Taskers on the bottom of my library. Should have written down his hand, but I'm pretty sure I know it. I know the 3 cards anyway. He has Cryptic, Edge, and Visions. Yeah, so now I basically just need to draw an answer to Vendilion Click, and I'll be in fine shape. I think he might just double tech edge me this turn, which I'm very okay with. Alright, so I'm gonna float a blue mana. Alright, or I'm just gonna Thought Scour myself in response. Yeah, so I'm very okay with this. Like something between totally okay with it and extremely okay with it. Alright, so there's an answer for Vendilion Click, which is great. I don't think I want another land, even though my colored mana situation's not the greatest, just because I kind of need spells too. Just going to exile creatures and lands, reserve myself with options. Like, there's an argument that you kind of want to sort of like sculpt your graveyard to prepare for a Tassiger, but I found with this deck that's actually not relevant. Like, usually you just mill spells just because you play so few lands, and yeah, basically that. And so that even if you go to a lot of effort to sculpt your graveyard, it doesn't actually it often doesn't amount to anything. And like keep maintaining your options with like Hologon's Command and Snapcaster Mage. That's like something concrete and like actually very valuable. Oh no, that's really bad for me. So now his hand is Cryptic Command and an unknown card. Like I can't even search for a basic here. That's miserable. Yeah, I have to kill this Click basically. And I'm just gonna do it now so you can't fight over it. So now his hand is Cryptic Command and an unknown. The Cryptic is very bad against my leaks, which is, I guess, something I have going for me. Blue land isn't actually fine. It's not a great draw, but it's certainly not the worst draw. Yeah, so now it's actually maybe an interesting question if he cycles Cryptic. Alright, his last card is Cryptic. I'm certainly going to snare a Snapcaster. I think maybe that's worse than Leak. I think Leak is better though. He has Restoration Angels in his deck. Did he draw one? Okay, so what is this? Serum Visions? No, Path's Exile. Okay. It's kind of greedy, but fine. I'll find another basic. Yeah, so now it's in his Cryptic command against my leaks. And Tassiger that is. Alright, so now I will sculpt my graveyard. To an extent. Like, so that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, if I was trying to maximize Tassiger, I would have exiled all of my Serum Visions, or I would have exiled the Spell Snare. Just to preserve options. Yeah, so if he end of turn Cryptics my Tasker, that's not like great for me or anything, but like if that's how he wants to use his Cryptic, I'm okay with it. And I'm concretely giving up something. Like, I think what I'm giving up is far too, like, I'm giving up far too much by not using the Tasker here. And so now he's probably going to Cryptic me, but that's totally fine. I'm going to get to replay Tasker. I'm not going to shock just to get another activation. That seems fairly greedy. I will... Yeah, I'll just exile my graveyard now. I think it's fine. Yeah, I think just holding up these two counter spells is too valuable. Oh, though that's quite bad for me. That is quite bad for me. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm hoping happens here now. I need to draw a Terminate, I guess. Or Murderous Cut. Both of those would be fine. Going to 1 life here. Man, I thought I was really ahead this game. I thought I'd finally kind of maneuver myself into a winning position. It's possible letting him cycle his Cryptic was just too greedy. There was no reason to let him do that. Now my hand is just counter spells that don't do anything. Man. Celestial Culminate is a really good card. Alright. Yeah. Well, that's kind of disappointing. I guess I shouldn't have let him cycle his Cryptic. I should have just not even just... I don't know. That's just kind of a tough spot, because like if I want to leave a leak for Cryptic, I'm going to have to just do that the whole game, like. And it's not like he got a lot of value out of his Cryptic. He basically just bounced my he basically like prevented, like, didn't even prevent 4 damage. I don't know if I would have even attacked with Tassiger. He just made me like spend 2 mana again, and he's drew a card. But I needed more time to find answers to the Celestial Colonnade, I guess. I don't have that many of them in my deck. So Delver of Secrets is good against this deck because its only removal is Path to Exile. Taxian Probe is medium. This is definitely a matchup where you cut a land, just because Path to Exile fixes your mana pretty well. I don't know how I feel about the expensive counterspells. I think Mana Leak is good enough, but Deprive isn't. Dispel is certainly good enough. Kolaghan's Command is fine. I want at least 1 Kolaghan's Command. I'll probably only bring in the second if I see some like specific thing I want to do with it. Not sure what I want. Oh, I guess I can just take out all the lightning bolts. I won't take out all the lightning bolts, but because he still has Vendilion Clicks. But it's probably the worst card. So now the question is whether I want the second Kolaghan's Command, whether I want a lightning bolt, whether I want 2 lightning bolts. It's possible that I just want a second lightning bolt over something. Like maybe over a Mana Leak. Maybe I just want the one lightning bolt because he doesn't have that many creatures. I think I like this. I could have worded a Delver for a lightning bolt too, but Delver's pretty good just because he doesn't have effective ways of interacting with it. Yeah. So that first game was kind of disappointing. I thought I like navigated the game into a pretty good position and then lost. I probably said that already. Yeah, so this hand only has one land, but it's got a Serum Vision, so it's probably fine. When you're playing a 19 land deck with a bunch of cantrips, I think you can basically just never mulligan hands like this. It's definitely a cost to playing the deck, but I mean, it's fine. This hand's pretty likely to work out well. So if he paths my Delver, I don't know if that's going to happen. I imagine if I top with Serum Visions, he likely is. But yeah. Alright, so I guess I'm hoping to just draw land. The argument for playing Serum Visions on turn 1 is so that you don't miss a land drop, but I don't think missing a land drop is bad at all in this matchup. So, like if I have 2 lands, I'll be operating on 2 lands for a while anyway. I don't think he doesn't have any 2-mana spells that are like devastating, so now I definitely cast Serum Visions. Get it in under Mana Leak, and I'll keep the land on top. Alright, so Dispel's a pretty good draw. Dispel's just pretty powerful in general. At this point, I mostly just want to draw more lands. I might path my Delver now, which, I mean, I assume he's not going to do because I'm mana screwed. But I did keep a card off Serum Vision, so he's basically just like killing a land while putting a land into play. So he knows I have Electrolyze. This is his only knowledge about my hands. Can't really do anything here. Just have to pass the turn and get in for 3 damage a turn. It is a somewhat of an interesting question whether I fetch at the end of his turn. I think the answer is no, because the life doesn't matter nearly as much as the possibility that I might fetch for a basic, or that's probably not a good argument. I probably should have just fetched. As is, like, I mean, it's all kind of a wash. I don't think it matters too much anyway. He's probably just gonna leave me with the entire hand because it's not very good. But it's possible he takes like Murderous Cut because he has a Restoration Angel or something. Okay. Yeah, that's moderately unfortunate that he got to make that exchange when he had click in hand. I mean, it's fine. Like, it's certainly not that bad for me. Certainly not that bad for me. I think I am just gonna fetch at the end of my turn this time, just because I don't think the deck thinning is as relevant as like the fact that I'm gonna have to shock myself to get a Steam Vents. Yeah, I don't know. It also makes him might make him slightly afraid I have Blood Moon in my deck, but I mean, I think he's past the point where he can play around that. So what did he do with his Serum Visions? He top bottomed. Alright, so I'm just fetching here. So I don't want to shock. Alright, so another Delver's acceptable draw. I guess I want to leave a Murderous Cut maybe in case my Delver dies somehow, and then I want to cut. I mean, I don't have bolts. My opponent knows I don't have bolts, so no real reason to do anything crazy. Cast Threads of Disloyalty. Okay, I guess that's good. Does he have Dispel in his hands? Alright, I guess I'd rather bolt this than discard a card. So that's what I'll do. Yeah, I guess that was pretty good. I don't... Okay. I mean, overall, that exchange is actually, I mean, probably like more favorable for me than anything, because I've just been stuck at 7 cards in hand for so long. What's going on? Kitchen Finks? Okay. Alright, so I'm going to hopefully draw lands. Okay. Finally drew a land. Unfortunately milled my Batter Skull. It's actually, even though I don't have like, I would have rather not drawn it, but also milling it means that like the rest of this game is likely going to be a decent amount harder for me. Yeah, I'm not sure. So he probably has Restoration Angel in his hand. I don't need a fetch now, so I might as well just leave it in play, because I'm probably just gonna fetch for a basic with this. Anyway, so he has millions of Restoration Angels and Cryptic commands. So Cryptic, Resto, Path, Resto, Snap, Path, Snap, Snares. This is not going to be an easy hand to beat. Yeah, that's certainly not going to be an easy hand to beat. Alright, so I'm just going to fetch for a swamp here and then play this Gurmag Angler. Yeah, I'm certainly going to play this Gurmag Angler. I don't care about these Delver Secrets, not even though I have Kolaghan's in my command in my deck, I'm not going to worry about them. Batter Skull is useless. Lands are useless. And, yep. Leave as many spells in my graveyard as possible. If he paths this, I think I might just let it resolve. If he Cryptics this, I'm obviously going to dispel this. Yeah, he knows I have Cryptic in my hand, so it seems pretty suspect of him to do this. But I don't know. I couldn't say. I mean, it means he's going to get to path this, but him pathing this is a much better exchange for me than him, like... I think I'm just going to get islands. Could arguably get mountain, but I'm not going to cast 2 red spells in a turn anytime soon. Alright, so... yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, I think I have to cut one of these. And I'll leave probably Dispel in my graveyard. I think I have to cut one of these just so I can use Electrolyze next turn. I'll just leave Dispel in my graveyard. Just have to fight my way through them, I think. Given that I drew Tassiger, I kind of horribly regret the play that I made. That's okay. That's okay. I'm still in okay shape. Like I basically I just like couldn't take another hit from the Finks there. Yeah, so now he's playing Resto through Leak, which is totally fine for me. This actually works out like vastly better for me. Well, it works out vastly better for me provided I draw a land. Given that I didn't draw a land, like basically given that I didn't draw a land, I can't actually play the Tasker, so it doesn't actually work out very much better for me. Well, now if I draw a land off of Serum Visions, it still works the same. Interesting. I think I think I'm just gonna bottom both of these. Neither of these cards does that much. The land's not the worst thing in the world. Like, basically the only question in my mind is whether I want to keep the Stark-Slick Shores. I think the answer is no. I mean, next turn he's probably going to play Restoration Angel. Then I'm going to snap. Yeah, I really want an untapped land. Like, I really want, like, a Polluted Delta. Or a Blood Crypt. Yeah, so now I'm just going to do this while he can't fight, because I have to do it anyway. And yeah, I don't know. Hopefully next turn he just taps out for Restoration Angel again. And that's good, I guess. Well, maybe it's not actually good, just because he has Spell Snare in hand, right? So I need to draw an untapped land there. Yeah, I think his hand is Snapcaster, Snapcaster, Spell Snare, Unknown. Given that his hand, I think I'm just dead here. Given that that's his hand, I think I'm just dead here. Maybe, I don't know. I wanted to leave up Spell Snare this whole game just to like force him not to play Snapcaster. And the plays that I had available to me were like pretty much the best that I had available given my resources. If I drew an untapped land this turn, that would have been good enough. Because then I could have Snapcaster, leaked his Spell Snare, and then Murderous cut his Angel. And then I could have just blocked his Sphinx. Would have still been dead at the Colonnade. I don't know. I think I'd just play this in case I misremember, but I assume I'm just dead here. Misremembered what's in his hand. But I imagine I'm just dead here. Yep. Good games. Yeah, so that game, I mean, I kept a one-lander and then I didn't have enough lands for the whole game. But I think that's fine. I drew the second land off of the Serum Visions, and I wasn't ever going to mulligan like 2 lands. And even given that it was like a pretty close game. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I boarded a land, but like at the end of the game, I had 4 lands because he cast Path to Exile. And that's like basically all this deck usually needs to operate. I just needed more lands this game because I was behind. I need to catch up and play multiple spells a turn. But usually, like, this would have been more than enough to operate in a usual fashion, in an effective fashion. Yeah. I don't know. Well, hopefully that was informative or interesting. Pretty like I won it all. I'm not at all in the best mental state. All right. Yeah. Until next time.